Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to episode number 2. That's right, we made it to 2 whole episodes. What an accomplishment. I'm giving myself a very, very half assed pat on the back. For one, because I'm not stretching that far. But second of all, just happy that I could even be this consistent with something. And you guys have been loyal. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for anybody who's done that. And, anyways, enough with the commencement speech. Again, here is episode 2 of Wheelin Dealin on youtube.com/Dave Squeaky Wheels with an S and Northern Coast Radio. Let's go. That's right, we're back. Hey guys, hello. This is Wheelin Dealin. I am your host, DJ Dave Squeaky Wheels, aka the Reptard Wonder, aka a bunch of other names I don't feel like naming right now, but it's fine. Anyways, let's get the plugs out of the way. Not much to plug in terms of shows right now, clearly because of what's going on. Hopefully, something will happen by the summer and by the fall. There's talks, but we will see. But for right now, just go to my main places, my main social media spots. Dave Squeaky Wheels with the Z on Instagram, DAVSQUEAKY, and Wheels with the Z. And on Facebook, there's my fan page there that I rarely update, which I could use some help on, but I'll figure it out. There's that one, or just Dave Squeaky Wheels, again with the Z. And I think those are all the plugs. We don't have to waste too much time on that. Be hopefully getting some more guests later this week, and we'll be able to keep going with this. I picked this specific time to record in the afternoon. Not like you guys care, but I picked this specific time because I woke up to some very, very loud, what sounds like jackhammering and sawing. They're doing renovations on one of the floors above me, and they gave me a heads up of this last week. I knew it was gonna be loud and boisterous, but man, you ever just like hear knocking, like just in either like the crack of dawn, or like early in the morning, and your instinct is, oh shit, something's going down, somebody's breaking in, or something's going on, and then you hear the chainsaw and stuff, and you realize you think you're on like a deleted scene from Home Improvement. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I recorded this intro a bunch of times. I got cottonmouth like a motherfucker. Uh, did some exercising earlier, some intense exercising because I ate kind of shitty on the weekend. Not too bad. It was just a lot of wraps and a lot of bread. Kind of not really doing bread too much. Not as many vegetables as I would have liked. So Friday and Saturday were kind of I just knew it was going to be what it was. So in response to that, you have to give your body some activity. You got to work out. So I did that today. Had a little CBD water, which is nice. I think that's why I kind of felt a little hazy there. I know it doesn't get you high. I get that part. I think I don't know. I think they sneak a little bit of THC in there. I think their little CBD elves have a little something else they're putting in there. They're not telling us about. Either way, I'm not complaining. You will not hear a peep out of me. But yeah, did that. Did some like resistant band exercises that are good for your hips. They stretch out your hamstrings and like your knees. Just kind of get rid of all the lactic acid that builds up around your joints. Am I a healthcare professional and am I a personal trainer? No. But I read a blog once and that's what I remember, so that's what you fucking get. Yeah. It's like a little health thing for you guys. I don't know. It works for me. You have to find what works for you. I think it's so important to remember that, like especially when they talk about, well, this is good for your health and this is conventionally good. It's like, yeah, for most people, you could have a general rule of thumb, but everybody's got variabilities with their genetics and allergies and things like that. So I don't know. Take it all with a grain of salt. I'm just happy to be chilling here. It's a nice enough day. It's a little windy, but getting back to summertime. Hopefully, we'll be able to go outside, do some outdoor festivals, and fuck around a little bit. like we used to. Other than that, I don't really have too much else to say. I just wanted to check in and say thanks and want to introduce the episode. So, this episode, we have two new sketches. The first sketch that you're going to hear is one that I call Hostage Taker Karaoke. Excuse me, if I could say it, maybe then I could fucking introduce it, idiot. uh, what a nervous laugh. Don't you love a nervous laugh whenever fucking. That's because it's funny too. Sometimes you'll be in social situations and you'll jokingly say something about yourself or like to take a little jab at yourself, and people be like, "Ew, why would you say that about yourself?" Da da da. And I think, I don't know. I think that's real, like the real body positive people or whatever you call it, the real people that are active on Instagram a lot, like the influencers that you call them. If that's always your world is motivating people, I find some certain types of humor just lost on them. Um, yeah, I don't mean to editorialize about my Instagram feed. I just think it's interesting. Anyhow, so the first sketch is Hostage Taker Karaoke. I believe his name is Dom Musk. The idea is like, whatever. Dom Musk, silly. He has a Buffalo Bill voice and he sings karaoke, so I think you guys are going to dig that. I had a lot of fun recording that. And then I'm bringing back Jack, the one and only Jack Pussy Magnet. He's going to be talking about, he's going to be doing another guided meditation for you guys. Will it be distracted? Most likely. It'll be wild and it'll be fun and crazy. So, hope you guys enjoy it. And here are the sketches. And then I have a little piece I have at the end. It goes on for about 15 minutes. Thank you.
This is an important message to whoever may concern. If you ever want to see your child alive again, you can do one of two things. You can drop off the money tomorrow, or you're gonna have to name that tune. Let's start with Foreigner. And I need you now than ever. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. I'm a bad bitch. I'm a bad bitch. I'm a outside, inside out. Living the vida loca. Oh, I just kinda gave you that title. Whatever. It's a free point. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Yeah. Oh, you fucking with that wet ass pussy. Oh. Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Getting a break from all your troubles sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Do, 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 do. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. And you always stay restrained, like in this basement. John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. His name is my name too. Whenever I go out, the people always shout, ha ha ha, just kidding, you're never gonna leave this place. I have you locked down in chains. Gonna go Jingleheimer Smith. Where's my snare? I have no snare in my headphones. No, I actually don't. We're recording? I thought that hand signal means that we're recording. Now why would you be presumptuous? We're keeping all this in the track. My mother's dead. I have no money left in my bank account. They're seizing all my assets. Okay. Is my hair alright? Did I come in too early? Oh, you started the hook. Well, it's on you, dude. You fucked up. Sorry. I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man. Fight for what's right. The rest of it. Stop. Drop. Shut them down over and up. Stop. Oh. No. You know the rest.
Welcome once again to Mind's Meditation. I'm Jack Pussymagnet, your spiritual guide. There will be... No, I fucked that whole thing up. God damn it. Fucking cunt. Alright, take number 2. Welcome once again to Mindless Meditation. Once again, I'm your host, Jack Pussymagnet, and yes, I'm keeping the name. Despite all your letters, I don't really care what you think. It's a catchy name and I'm using it to avoid the IRS and my ex-wife. That bitch won't let up with child support, but hey, no judgment. I just want her to namaste 90 feet away from me, as per our restraining order / peace agreement. Not too much to ask, I think. Anyway, I digress. Let's start with a little breathing exercise. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. Unique New York. Unique New York. Is it ka or is it ka? What do you mean? It's New York ka? What am I, a fucking bird? It's unique New York. Red leather, yellow leather, you know? It's little basic warm-ups just to kind of wet your whistle and get you going. Oh my god, my god, my god. Is this whole fucking bit just been me doing Jason Statham in a tunnel? Oh, fuck me, it's right to Tuesday. Nah, he hasn't helped anybody relax like I have, right? I became something of myself. My guidance counselor wasn't totally right. No. I won a spelling bee that one time in 2nd grade. Even though the kid was dyslexic, I fucking won fair and square, didn't I? Been living a fucking lie this whole time. What a shock that... Oh my god. What do I even do? Well, you still have to keep breathing, I guess. Or you could just cut off circulation to your windpipe and just fucking end this. What are you gonna do? In and out. You are on a deserted island. Just you, sitting on a beach. Your own thoughts. Breathing in, taking in the waves. Taking in the wind. The seas, the sun radiating on your skin. It's a glorious day. And then your phone vibrates and you're like, oh shit, that bitch one more time. I thought I put the block number on her contact. Just goes to show you, probably shouldn't sign up for any free website and just give out your email willy-nilly. You might get some weird calls in a very foreign language and you don't know why. Or maybe you've been playing too much online poker and gambling. You're pushing your impulsive behavior because of your turbulent childhood. You're a child. It's okay. Mommy wasn't there. Why? But maybe. You'll figure it out. Tony Robbins still works, right? People are still taking that advice from that fucking square-jawed weirdo. He had some popular books back in the day. Ah well. And in and out. When you are at the county fair, has anybody ever accurately guessed the amount of jelly beans in the jelly jar? Or is that just some voodoo magic bullshit? I don't know. I don't think I really want a prize though with somebody missing their two top front teeth and most of their bottom jaw as well. Ah well, food for thought. Just a thought. I hate people with exotic pets. Most of them are twits, don't you think? You would really need the proper environment to house such a hazardous animal. And if you have a baby and you have a dingo, well, fucking do the math, asshole. Ho, ho, ho. I hate people with ferrets as pets. Rats, hamsters, snakes. Unless, of course, you feed the mice and the mini marsupials to the snakes. Because at that point, you're just saving on pet food and not having to talk to the awkward girl at PetSmart with the braces. There's that Nigerian guy too who goes to the pet store with his goat tooth, and his goat tooth reflects off of her braces. If that were to ever hit a disco ball on that light, I think it would cause epilepsy with some people. Maybe I'm just speculating. Or maybe I need a new PetSmart. Feel the energy flowing and radiating all throughout your being. Energy, vibrations, from your lower foot and toes, percolating all the way up to your limbs, to your chest, your hands and fingertips, face, temple, urethra, gallbladder, whatever the weird speed bag thingy is at the end of your throat. Kind of like a punching bag, but it's like a speed bag. If you were a boxer, kind of look to it. Of course, your rectum, the lighted fluid thing, has since been taken care of. I sit on a commode now when I go to the bathroom and the toilet. It's like my arsehole is like a little donut with a little bone ring around it, but it's since been rectified. Rectified, no pun intended. All of it radiating, all of it proliferating. Being the best you can be. Be. Sidebar. So since I left you last week, the chap that was rummaging through the trash, the one who flung his feces at me and it just missed the top sole of my shoe. Thankfully they weren't my good shoes, they were just my, I'm going to take the trash out, or I'm going to the gym, or it's kind of casual type of shoes, whatever you want to call them. Apparently, he got himself a little dog. Just to kind of keep him company, I guess. Not fun to dig in the garbage by yourself, I guess. Sometimes you need a mate for that activity specifically. And it was a cute little beagle. Just the cutest little beagle. Its big little eyes and the patches on it. I was like, oh, it's a lovely little dog. Do you mind if I pet it? And he said, you can pet him if you want, but he's got rabies. And I said, are you fucking with me? That dog doesn't look like he has rabies. He's adorable. And he said, pet him if you want. Pointed to him again, said rabies. And I said, alright. And then I was about to leave, and the dog shit, and he just threw the shit at me anyway, so I still didn't get off scot-free. Somehow I got rabies from the dog shit. Or I don't know. Actually, how the fuck did I get those rabies? I'm meandering, I'm sorry, you guys. The meditation's probably over by now. Cheers. This has been Mindless Meditation. I'm your host, Jack Pussy Magnet. Namaste.
Hello, everybody. How we doing? Sorry if I sound a little bit out of breath. I'm trying to run away from the memories of being a fat kid. So with every breath I take, I step into the future of not eating like shit every day, but mostly just avoiding fast foods and processed anything I can do to make myself feel better about my eating habits, and just any little thing I want to put myself over people and isolate myself and just really make it. I want to be a really difficult person to start a conversation with, just so that we can get all the bullshit out of the way. I don't want any type of camaraderie, any type of compliments or friendship. Who the fuck needs that? That is not important for human development at all. At all. All the research that was done in the past 60s and 70s, they were taking acid up their buttholes, and doing God knows what else. Running through fields that just cropped us in Agent Orange. Maybe it skewed their opinions on what a human being truly needs to be fulfilled. Of course, I'm kidding. I don't know anything about history. I can't just make it up. Like anybody else. It's fine though. It's fine. But yeah, I'm doing this right now. See, pick up from what we did yesterday. I didn't. Again, I don't know how to start these things ever, so I just kind of go. But I got up this morning, tried to write, just nothing was coming out. And in the past, I would have made excuses and given into more pitfalls just to not record and to not be active. And it truly is, as shitty as this year has been, man, it makes us realize how everything is connected. I'll have to do some more research on this, or maybe ask some people who study it's their area of expertise, rather. I think that the reason why learning feels like such a fucking chore, especially if you're just in the same type of public school or the same type of standardized learning that we take. One of these models that we take are horrible, and not to make critical thinkers and people are innovative and inventive and to spark their imagination. It's just to follow orders and to be a jury fuck and pay taxes and shut your mouth. But obviously it's not. Some people thrive in that environment, but I find most people just get bored of shit and they daydream about something, and then you feel like you're invalidated because you can't keep up with the other kids, and like the one teacher just has to somehow know everything about every 30 students. Like that's the crazy thing, man. Like one person's in charge for 30 people or 40 or however the size your classroom is. In sports, you get assistant coaches. There's people who specialize in certain areas of expertise. You get people who deal with like the big guys or the little guys, or what, depending on what position you play and what sport. But typically it's not just one coach. It's two or a number of them. Anyways, I've been a firm believer that I think, and this is ironic coming from me, I know, so, fucking hold your cheers and jeers. I think that the worst thing you can do to a developing mind, and just to a mind in general, is to leave them in a stationary place and just have them work. We were designed, and we've been evolved to move around, to hunt things, to have our bodies be in motion, and to adapt that way. So I think it's more natural if people and kids or whatever. Again, I don't think this is exclusive to one group of people. I think exercise benefits everybody. It's one thing that, excuse me, catching my fucking breath here. Basically, I believe that when you do physical movements and when you have that physical outlet, then your mind is a lot more at ease and more relaxed, and you can learn easier because it feels more natural. Just in so many ways, man. I think recess, I don't know what it's like now. I'm not in school anymore, but when I was a kid, recess is maybe 5-10 minutes. That's it. And you just go back in. and all that fun, all that shit talking you did with your friends, all the sports you were playing. If you're playing, for me it was Pokemon or like Digimon, play that shit outside and you're having fun. And it's like, you're basically you're doing gambling for kids basically, because Pokemon cards was like fucking currency back then. But you take everybody, then you go inside. You gotta listen to somebody, and obviously there are exceptions. I remember I've had many great teachers, but like I could name them all maybe on one or two hands. Like there's a handful of them maybe. So most of the time that person's not excited about their job. They're there to kind of suck the life and kind of not suck the life, not intentionally, but like they're there to just kind of do the mandate and follow the rules and just get through this bullshit so they can sneak off to happy hour and avoid their family or whatever. And I think that's a horrible way, man. It sets a horrible precedent. Learning shouldn't be a fucking chore. It should be exciting, man. Like, um, say what you want about Michael Moore's documentaries or just about a lot of that in general. Obviously, it has a bit of a slant to it looking back on it now. But he did one of the things about education or the healthcare system, one of those. And he went to this European country. I think it was Finland or Sweden, one of those Jürgen, one of those places. Yeah, I don't care if I get in trouble for it. Fine, it's fine. But he goes to one of those places, and they say, I think the math teacher was talking about psychology, or they were versed in some completely different subject uh, that they weren't even, that they didn't specialize in per se. But what they did was, if the kid asked the question, they didn't just shut them down or just be like, "Oh, I don't know" or anything. They sparked the curiosity. They're there to kind of cultivate the kid's interests. I'm not saying that you should do this exclusively. Some kids just want to be assholes, like, and want to spell boobs on a calculator and just be dickheads. I'm not saying you should listen to everything, but I think there's some merit to that, because if you show an interest in what somebody has, a fucking genuine interest, and don't just bombard them with homework and don't just bombard them with shit that's just going to make them feel like slaves their whole life and workaholics and fracture relationships and numerous other personal problems that, it's like, oh, he's a hard worker and stuff, but then you end up like Christopher Dorner, man. He's fucking a cop one day and he's terrorizing people on the freeway and shooting people the next day. So to me, there has to be a balance, and it has to be based on the individual. And again, maybe this is me being an idealist, but just from what I've seen and like how people work, I think that it's such a fucking disservice the way that that's done. And some of my fondest memories, and also too, this goes into the next topic. I went on like a bit of a binge and went into a proverbial rabbit hole listening to some old Rodney Dangerfield, like the old Friars Club roast with Don Rickles, like the Dean Martins, those type of guys, Sammy Davises, a little bit of like the old TV shows, All in the Family, like Jeffersons and all that. And I'm telling you right now, some of the references are a bit outdated, but the themes are very, very, very prevalent to what's going on. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned that I think a lot of people are missing out on, man. Like some of my fondest memories when I was at my most vulnerable was when I was a little kid and I was staying with my grandparents. And I got up in the middle of the night because I always have nightmares. I was a little bitchy kid when the lights would go off and I'd have to go to sleep. I think that's why my mind wanders so much. Even to this day, I can't sleep without any type of external, like low frequency external noise. Just until recently, or unless I'm super tired, is when I can only sleep in the quiet. But there always has to be radio show I have on the background, a movie, like a book on tape, just some type of external noise to kind of fake myself out into going to sleep. It's it's like a defense mechanism I guess I've cultivated, maybe to make myself ignore the fear or just not even acknowledge it. But when I was a little kid, I'd be freaked out or whatever, and then I'd go to my grandfather, if he'd still be up watching like the Tonight Show or like a late show or whatever. He'd ask me like if what was I doing, like was I scared? And I'd tell him I was scared, and then he'd put on an old episode of All in the Family, and we'd laugh basically about, in context now, this dumb bigoted guy like having black neighbors or people of a different faith or whatever, and not knowing how to deal with it, and having his uber liberal son-in-law who's like, I love how, because it just goes back to ego. And I heard an interview with George Carlin's daughter where she said one of the things that fascinated him, or like he hated, was ego on people. And that's why I think that type of comedy or that type of show is, I think it's in the Smithsonian. It's like one of those TV museums. I'm blanking on it right now. But those shows are so important because they humanize the people in them. Like you initially want to hate them or you initially have animosity towards them, but you humanize them because you realize, especially if a person has never been exposed to them and it really is just a willfully ignorant thing. Some people are just evil because, for when they're evil, or a lot of times it's just self-hatred, man. Because I spoke to this with another, someone that's close to the other day, just in passing. It was like something racial. Or I said, how can people be racist, not even acknowledge them or just kind of be dismissive. I think if you want to rationalize it that way, it kind of goes back to people, because they'll always say, "Oh, the Bible says this," the Bible says this, especially if they're religious. But there's a part in there that says you should love your neighbor like you love yourself. And if you treat your neighbor that shitty, how can you like yourself all that much too? Tell you, I'm a modern day Socrates is my dumb philosophy. Anyways. So we'd sit there and like he'd like give me some warm milk or like give me a little drink of something. Who knows? It probably could have been whiskey. Who knows? It wasn't. My grandfather rarely ever drank. Actually, he's a good Christian man like that. Truly in the embodiment of the word. He probably had some demons and I didn't know outside of him. But I hate. It's like the people that want to say like I'm an anti this or like they want to really promote this one aspect of their personality, but just bombard you with that shit. Like the real people who embody that or maybe take that shit to heart, they don't have to force it upon you. It's just a natural part of their personality, and you can feel that genuinely. So he truly genuinely was that, and like those are some of the most comforting times of my life, and I finally look back on those memories whenever I'm having a similar situation like that, or whenever I have some fears or anxieties. Because I think a lot of people need it. They need the reassurance, and a lot of the times the bullshit you think is the most important is not. Because you need good TV like that and good writing and things like that to show. We should laugh about nonsense and these little differences, because in many ways they're very similar. And again, it humanizes. We have to humanize, and we have to realize that we're all the same and kumbaya and blah 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 blah. But just going through that too, and even going through those old rabbit holes of those, listening to those roasts and just the friggin' one-liners that Rodney can throw out. If you haven't heard the album No Respect, I highly recommend downloading that wherever you can find it, because it's just 40 minutes of thunder. The one like where he said my mom didn't want to breastfeed me because she only liked me as a friend, or every time on Halloween, the kids would come up to my door and they'd give me candy. The one about the roaches hanging themselves with the dental floss he left in the kitchen. That one tickled me a lot. There's a one about he saying he only had 7 nights in Puerto Rico, and they said no days, but you get 7 nights. Just keep out of Puerto Rico. Like the fucking timing is just brilliant, and I've heard other comics go on about it, but I think until you've truly lived even just a little bit of life, or you've had some adversity, when you can truly appreciate how brilliant that fucking line is, because it's all really sad shit that he's talking about if you're really reading between the lines, but it's hilarious because of how cartoonish and outlandish he just takes the punchline too. And as what I like too is how he paints the picture with all the things that he says, but he does it in a very concise way. And then even sometimes he'll just do a little commentary. It's like, oh, it's too fast for you. Like some people in the audience are like, went over your head or something. I was interested in. Don Rickles is just ruthless and a crotchety old Jew, but man, he is awesome. Man, he is fucking awesome. Most people just know him, especially if like you're a little bit younger and you're a millennial. You would know him as Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story, and he's done a bunch of those voiceover gigs. But I'm telling you right now, his like Friars Club roasts and when he's talking about just like people in the audience, he has a few stock lines here and there. Like if it was a Asian or a Filipino, I'd be like, "Are you Asian? Are you Filipino?" He says, "Well, yeah, I was hunting your uncle for like for like the entire Second World War. Great country, yeah. And obviously, why he could get away with doing that shit is because that's not his personality off stage. Very nice and warm guy. But I love how people could just. I'm not saying the time period was perfect and stuff, especially if you look at all the conflicts and the war on drugs and you want to talk about incarceration rates now, man. Like, this is before body cameras, so just imagine some of the shit that was going on back then. But in terms of like how people could use that pain just to kind of they would deal with the pain, but it wouldn't define them. It's something that you have to use to turn it into a positive. It doesn't. One of the things I hate about not just victimhood in general, man. You know, obviously, the obvious thing it takes away from other victims, but just if something is so shitty to the nth degree and you can't laugh at it, you need to look at yourself first. I get that not everybody's always there emotionally, but you take the power away from something if you can fucking just take the piss out of it and mock it. It's so much fun. It's a uniting thing, especially if like you have good friends who like have a shared suffering. So like people in the service are like in really, really high stressful jobs, so the most fucked up like sick sense of humor because they're seeing it every day. And what are you gonna do, man? You'd be the one blowing your brains out or the one laying on the sidewalk if you didn't at least tell an off-color joke every now and then. So to me, especially when it's the people who want to shut that shit down, either they've never been through something bad in their life or they're just completely out of their minds and they just want to be in control and they want the power. And that is a very dangerous precedent to set, I think, for anybody, man. We're all human beings and we all have to cope some way, and it should be a productive way. Like working out, bro, and doing your thing. I'm like the centaur of bro. Like that's something. As I was jogging in my apartment, I said I'm like half nerd, half jock when it comes to my sensibilities, and I don't know. It allows me, I guess, kind of meet a variety of different people because I can, you expand your interests. But I feel like such a phony sometimes. The fucking tool. Anyways. We'll pick this up hopefully tomorrow. I'm probably just going to piece all these together. This will be for you. And that's where we're going to wrap this week's episode. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. We're going to do this weekly. Keep this growing. Tell your friends, like and subscribe. YouTube.com/Dave Squeaky Wheels and all the plugs I had in the beginning. There will be some movement on this, and I will keep you guys posted. Thank you so much. Have a great day.